October 28th, 2022. Resident Evil Village Gold Edition drops with all the DLCs and bonus content. So I hop onto my favorite unboxing channel Poppin' Games. It's a tradition. The video starts my excitement at its peak. Everything's going smoothly until I saw the disc, until I saw those papers with codes, until I realized the atrocity. Resident Evil Village, a special edition bundled not with expanded content on the disc, but with digital codes. It's not an exclusive issue with Resident Evil, of course. It's a long-standing decay within gaming. Recycling unsold discs repackaged with DLC codes for Game of the Year or Complete Editions. My disappointment had already been simmering for months and years. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Marvel Spider-Man Game of the Year Edition, and countless others. And right there, that, my dear friends, is what I call the killing of experiences. The assassination of what you could call the Don Norman principle. But don't be mistaken, it's not about bundling everything into a disc, oh no, it's something deeper. Go back 15 years, 7-year-old me sitting in the back of my dad's car, gleaming, glowing, grinning from ear to ear, because after months of waiting, my aunt had finally sent me games for my Game Boy Advanced. You might be saying, wait, what? Yeah, long story, she gifted me the console but forgot to send the games, a little chaos ensued, but finally things were getting fixed. Anyway, back to the story. 3 game boxes: Planet of the Apes, Ford Racing 3, and Mega Man Battle Network. And oh boy, I couldn't wait to pump those bad boys in when I got home. I couldn't stop staring at the eerie cover of Planet of the Apes, or the cheerful duo of Lan and Mega Man, and oh, that Ford cover. Reading the descriptions again and again, smelling the crisp and plasticity scent of new game boxes. Oh boy, you have no idea how long that 1-hour car ride felt. Because for my 7-year-old consciousness, that single hour lasted 7 years. And when I finally got home, opening those boxes, inserting the cartridges, flipping that Nintendo Power Switch, and watching the startup screen come to life, it was heaven. A pure, unfiltered experience that can't be replicated with digital downloads or codes. That right there is the very essence of the Don Norman principle. Still confused? Okay, let me put it simply. Why do fans love physical game discs over digital ones? Why do book lovers cling to paperbacks just to smell the scent of freshly minted pages? Analog watches over digital, printed photographs versus digital galleries, handwritten notes over typed ones. We often assume humanity's preference for physical over digital being purely functional. Like, I buy physical discs so I can share them with friends, or I keep physical books so I can lend them. And sure, for some, that's true. But for most of us, that's not the real reason. Because what we chase after as humans cannot be explained through cold rationality. We are not purely logical creatures. If we were, we wouldn't love, we possibly couldn't. We wouldn't find joy in the mundane. In their book Ikigai, Francesc Morales and Hector Garcia discuss how to reach a state of flow. One of their key elements were rituals, illogical and unrelated rituals. Rituals are inherently irrational acts which have no direct functional purpose, yet profoundly enhance the experience. Athletes, artists, believers, all rely on them. Michael Jordan wore his North Carolina shorts to always keep en route with his origins. Stephen King writes every single morning at the same time and in the same place, even on holidays, as a habit, in order to kick off the slum of avoidance, even when he's not brimming with creative ideas. We do our rituals before commuting. So if humans are not rational beings, then our most meaningful experiences aren't necessarily functional. They're emotional, ritualistic, symbolic. And one man, an MIT alumni, the father of UX, the director of the biggest design lab in the world at University of California, San Diego, Don Norman put this idea into 3 levels of emotional design: visceral, behavioral, and reflective. In his book, the 2004 Emotional Design, Why We Love or Hate Everyday Things, Don Norman wrote, "It's not enough that we build products that are functional, that are understandable and usable. We also need to build joy and excitement, pleasure and fun, and yes, beauty into people's lives." If you ever wondered why we love physical media, it's exactly that. Not because it's useful, but because it's human. The biggest hurdle in digitalization isn't functional, it's emotional. And that's the most important factor of all. Physical mediums have an added dimension of experiences. It's not just their ultimate use that makes the experience, but the entire process they hold within. Think about it. Holding a brand new game disc in your hands, anticipating all the fun and marveling at the art. The faint smell of a fresh book. Flipping through a photo gallery as if you're literally flipping through the pages of your life. That's a human experience in a human medium with a human interface. Digital platforms can never access. A user experience that can only be achieved, be tangible by something that's fundamentally real. For too long, there's been a false belief that as long as a product works, it's good enough. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Functionality might be the foundation, but experience is the soul. UX isn't a luxury, it's the pinnacle of good design. Steve Jobs hated Apple's Newton, a device ahead of its time with a stylus long before Samsung's Note series. But his disdain wasn't from its functionality. It was because, as he put it, you can't use the other 5 if you're holding a pen. And when you're holding a pen, you lose access to the other 5.
Who wants a stylus? You have to get them and put them away and you lose them. Yuck. Nobody wants a stylus. So let's not use a stylus.
The stylus was very useful, but it took away the very fundamental user experience. That's the same philosophy that drove him to demand multiple typefaces on the Macintosh for the very first time in computing history. He understood that not everything practical creates a great experience, and not everything that's impractical is necessarily useless. And in the same way, the digitalization of games, while convenient, strips away the ritual of owning, opening, and playing a physical copy. The sealed box, the new plastic smell, the weight of the manual, the slow, sacred ritual of inserting the disc into your console. That's why it's a jarring experience to open a special edition game and find nothing but a slip of paper with download codes. That's why it's infuriating to buy a game and only realize it's loaded with a 75 megabyte data and you have to download the entire game. This is to be lied to and deceived. It breaks immersion, it breaks the experience. The death of physical games isn't just the loss of functionality or tradition. It's the death of a cultural experience, an emotional journey that defined what gaming felt like. I came to this realization during my human-computer interaction course last semester. I worked together with our lecturer before and even had grown closer. We'd have some personal conversations about his projects, hobbies, love for biking, and more. And in one of the course's earlier classes, we were learning about human-centric design principles. And a product he mentioned with great admiration was Apple's iPod for their design and experience. And that he'd even go to the extent of buying one if he ever got the chance now. It surprised me. Why would someone still want an iPod in the edge of Spotify and earbuds? I met him at his office for a different agenda a few weeks later and raised that question again. but I was marveled at how he explained it beautifully. Sure, part of the reason was practical, but it was also artistic. He wanted an iPod to preserve the longevity of his iPhone's battery, but above that, he wanted a comfy and easy to use device during his bicycle sessions. Earlier, I had hinted on his passion for biking. He owns a really badass bicycle which he navigates to the city, for shopping, and everywhere else. Even during rainstorms, he'd don a full gear and ride the storm. And during those riding hours, listening to music is an ecstasy through an earpiece and a Spotify library. But it's not a complete experience, not for him. It breaks the immersion. You can't easily switch songs if you're streaming off of your phone while riding. Sure, there are other solutions you could employ for this, but iPods were inherently made for that. They're slick, compact, you can tape them to your arm, switch readily between songs and libraries. They're meant to be used in those outdoor moments in your solitude and personal space. No redundant features or extra buttons, just the ones you need for your lyrical musical world. It's not about functionality, it's about authenticity. That moment and that course changed how I saw design. Life isn't meant to be purely functional, it's meant to be meaningful. For me, physical games and consoles are just like the iPod and the bike, a perfect pairing of ritual and joy. Most of my games today are digital and I'm grateful for the access they provide. But nothing beats the feeling of holding a numbered game disc, a physical memory of an emotional experience. Even now as an adult, I still live those Mega Man moments. In high school, getting a sealed copy of FIFA 20 on discount and staring at it all the way home. Buying Horizon Zero Dawn with my cousin and flipping the cover back and forth. And 4 years ago, on a bus ride opening The Witcher 3 Game of the Year edition, to find every DLC and expansion bundled right there on the disc. Those moments are sacred. They're not just products, they're experiences. We live in an age where the end justifies the means, where the journey no longer matters, where speed and convenience are the gods of design. As the Eastern philosophy interpreter Alan Watts once put it, if you eliminate the distance, you eliminate the journey. We just had failed to see that, in the end, it wasn't merely about the destination. For those of us who still value the experience, who cherish the authenticity, physical games will always be something more. A memory, a feeling, a human experience.